All right, just open up with a couple comments. Today was practice number 12 for our guys, and we're halfway through our preparation, getting ready here for NC State. Today was a half scrimmage, so we had our first full scrimmage last Friday, and today we had the last half of practice. We went out and scrimmaged again, and it was a good day, and then we'll have our last full scrimmage this coming Saturday. And then we'll really turn the page and get ready for NC State for the last week and a half. But just overall thoughts on the scrimmage. I thought the offense really responded, very typical of what usually happens. The defense usually comes out in the first scrimmage and plays well, and then the offense gets mad, and they come out in the next scrimmage and they play well early, and that's exactly what happened today. Our very first drive of the scrimmage was a 16-play drive that lasted 10 minutes and 14 seconds. And we left them out there with no timeouts, and really just, you look for those opportunities as a coach to kind of put your guys in some situations, where they got to be able to execute when it gets hard. And we got some really difficult great challenges coming up here in our first few games. It's going to be hot Thursday night up at NC State. It'll definitely be hot the following Saturday back here at 1 o'clock. So I think that was good to see our guys push through and be able to execute and make some plays there. And then I felt there were some bright spots offensively. We continue to have some big plays down the field that were well contested on defense, and the offensive guys just made a really nice throw and nice catch, good protection up front. And then, the defense responded the second half of the practice, did really well in the red zone and goal line segment, so that was good to see. So really, just kind of opposite of our first scrimmage, but overall I felt like the execution was better offensively today than it was last Friday. Still had some costly penalties on both sides. That's a big thing in the preseason, getting ready for your first game. We got to clean up some of the penalties that we had that extended drives for the offense, whenever the defense had some critical penalties. And then we had a couple times with the second offensive group, we had first and goal at the 9, and the receiver jumped off sides and makes it first and goal from the 16, and we just kept going backwards. And so, the big message to our guys is we've got to be very efficient with the way that we play. And some of these, costly penalties, things that we can prevent, we've got to get corrected, and we'll continue to have officials out the rest of our camp. So with that, I'll open it up for any questions.
Coach, I'm going to throw out an assumption. 16-play drive, 10-plus minutes. Weren't a lot of incomplete passes and probably a lot of runs in there, right?
Yeah, it was a good mixture. I think the first scrimmage we came out really wanting to try to throw the ball a little bit and test out some of our young wideouts and see. And I think this scrimmage we probably got to a little bit more balance. And there was 3 third-down conversions. I think we probably ran the ball pretty well, first and second down, and then to be able to have a 16-play drive, there's some big third-down conversions, and I think we threw for 2 of them and ran for 1 on the conversions. But yeah, it was a good test for our offense and our defense.
Do you think having a quality opponent like North Carolina State to start the season helps your team focus more on getting ready for the season?
Yeah, I would like to think not. I would hope, eventually where we want to be able to get our team and our program is where, we prepare every day, no matter who we play, right? That was one of the things that I've learned in my past is that in order to have a program that is consistent and has, sustainable success, you have to turn the focus from, the external factors of who you play, where you play, when you play, really to be internally focused from the inside out. And really what we're trying to do, and I think our guys are buying into it, is we're really trying to focus on, best is the standard, and having an internal standard that we try to meet in everything we do in our meetings and our practice. And when you put the focus internally on your preparation and have a standard that you're trying to reach each and every day, then that allows for consistency. So I think from a big picture, that's definitely what we want our focus to be. Our Are guys excited because we're going to play there on Thursday night? Absolutely. Coach is excited, absolutely. I think it's great. I think for us and for where we are as a program and for the progress that we want to really be able to make this year and in the years moving forward, having some of these big games early on, it's going to be great opportunities to kind of see where we are as a program, see how we stack up, and go from there. So I think right now we're not talking a lot about NC State. We're talking just about our own preparation and execution.
Coach,
which pass catchers have stood out, particularly on the outside, and similar question about your tight ends?
Yeah, well, I think today, like I said, today was a more consistent day. I thought throwing and catching. I think the good thing in my mind, where maybe in the past we've kind of had one or two guys that we've had to lean real heavily on. One of our best receivers has been out, and he's back now. Been out with an illness, Xavier Weaver, so he hasn't practiced in the last, really since we started fall camp. So it was a great opportunity for these other guys, and when one of your best receivers is out. DeMarcus Gregory is a receiver that transferred from Ole Miss, and he's really had a good fall camp. He's a guy that I feel like we can count on, that has really been able to help us be very consistent presence in the boundary. I felt, Latrell's done well. He's an experienced guy. He's made a lot of plays. Bryce, you know exactly what you're going to get from him. Jimmy Horn, the freshman, made some nice catches today, which was good to see. And then a guy a lot of people don't know a whole lot about, Sean Adkins, is another slot receiver that had a really good spring for us, and he's consistently made plays. So I think for us, offensively, we want to be able to. We don't want to be predictable with where the ball's going. Sometimes, just from a depth and talent standpoint, that happens sometimes. But I think what I see with our wideouts and with our tight ends, with Mitchell Brinkman, Chris Carter, even Gunnar Greenwald, true freshman, those guys that have shown to be talented guys that can be weapons in the passing game as well. And ultimately, that's what makes it more difficult for a defensive coordinator. If they know where the ball is going when you're throwing the ball, it's a lot easier to be able to push coverage to one side or the other. And so for us as coaches, we've really just been calling concepts and calling plays and letting the quarterback kind of make the best decisions. But each of those guys have kind of had their day throughout fall camp, which has given me confidence. Still got a lot of work to do. It'd be good to be able to get Weaver back in the fold here. He'll be able to start practicing towards the end of the week. And I think just that opportunity with him being out really allowed some of those other guys to get some reps. Other transfer, Yusuf Terry from Baylor has really come on and made some nice plays as well. He's become more consistent, and I think him and Gregory adding to the outside guys, I think, is going to be able to help us with some more consistency in those positions.
Coach, are the majority of the penalties physical or mental?
Well, today they were probably more, non-football related. Sometimes you may have a holding call or a pass interference call where just guys competing for balls. And we don't want those, but those happen. Those are more full speed. But today I think we had 2 or 3 where guys were jumping off sides on offense or defense, and that just can't happen. And those are penalties when the ball's not in the air or not on the ground, and those are the ones, the careless penalties that we got to clean up.
Jeff, your return specialist, how's that looking? I know the guys that were primarily return guys last year are gone, so
Yeah.
how's that looking?
For what we've done, we have a progression throughout our special teams. We did a little bit more punt return work and kickoff return work. Bryce Miller is a guy that was really our number 2 last year at punt return, and he's done a really good job so far throughout fall camp. Weaver is a guy that also has a little bit of experience and really good hands. He was able to get out there and get some reps today for the first time in fall camp. Jimmy Horn is a guy that we would like to continue to develop. I think he is very dangerous with the ball in his hands. He's just got to become more consistent catching the ball and being comfortable. And college with the spread punt and all that, you're going to have guys down there around you. So he's just got to clean up some things there. Kickoff return, we've been working Horn back there in the back, along with Darian Felix, Brian Battie. There's a few guys, and some other guys will get some looks. So, you know, I feel like we have the skill to be able to be effective in the return game. We just got to, you know, this next really week and a half will be a lot more emphasis. Where you kind of start as a coach in your special teams is the protection, the punt protection and kickoff coverage. Those are the places where you can get beat. So you put a lot of emphasis on that early, and now we'll be kind of opening up our special teams work to work more with the return game.
Coach, I fully understand if you don't want to answer this question, but your thoughts after attending the funeral of Coach Bowden?
Yeah, it was a celebration of life, and you know, for me, it was awesome just to see so many former players. I mean, I felt like I just, you know, last time I saw the majority of them, they were 21, 22, 23 years old, and now I walk in the room and they're 50, just like that. And so I'm glad I had my dad there to kind of help point out some names, but you know, it was great to be able to get back and see so many of the former players and former coaches, and you know, every one of them, you know, just had the same amount of respect and had different stories of the impact that Coach Bowden had. I thought that was, you know, it was a difficult day, but also it truly was a celebration. And you know, I came back and told our players, you know, hey, you know, think about, hey, football is a priority, but it shouldn't be the priority. You know, because you got a lot of things ahead of you, and sometimes we get so caught up in the here and now. But you know, our guys are going to all grow up, and whenever they get done here, be husbands and fathers one day. And I just hope that myself and our staff have a chance to have an impact similar to Coach Bowden and his staffs there at Florida State.
Coach, which position group do you feel has improved the most since the end of last season?
Yeah, you know, there's been several. I mean, I think overall as a team, I've seen a lot of improvement overall. We still got a lot of work to do. I would say some of the guys in the secondary, just, you know, we play with 3 safeties. I would say the consistency of guys being in position and making plays. I know there was an opportunity today. It looked like a touchdown from where I was, and Matt Hill came out of nowhere and knocked it down and stopped a big, long touchdown play. So I would say the safeties, that's probably a pretty quick answer right there. But you know, overall, I've seen improvement. There's not a group that I'm disappointed in, but I think we just got to continue to be more efficient in how we play and how we execute the calls.
Jeff, Ernie Sims, can you talk about the impact that he's had on your staff?
Yeah, Coach Sims has been incredible. Whenever I got the job here, we kind of filled out our staff. Coach Sims was with Coach Spencer at Florida Atlantic, and came over as an analyst, and got to watch him work every day and what he was allowed to do kind of here in the office, and just the way that he went about his business with the staff and doing those things. And so whenever we had a job opening in the spring, it was a pretty quick conversation between me and Coach Spencer on getting Coach Sims on the field. But you know, just like he was an outstanding player, you know, he was known as a guy that's very detailed and going to do things exactly the right way, and I think that has carried over into his coaching on the field. I mean, he takes a lot of pride in his work and his position and communication with his linebackers, and I think he's at the beginning of an outstanding career.
And comparable to the first scrimmage and today's scrimmage, defensively, what good things could you say about that group?
Yeah, I would say, and again, I got to go back and watch the tape. I was watching a lot of things whenever I was out there. You know, I saw some guys on the back end make some nice plays today. And then you know, I felt like overall we were a little bit more disruptive in the first scrimmage defensively up front. And a little bit of it too is coaching, right? In the first scrimmage on Friday, Coach Spencer came out with some stuff that Coach Wise hadn't seen, even though we go against them every day. They had a couple of little wrinkles and things in protection. And then I think today the offense was kind of a little bit more prepared for it and did a little bit better job of executing up front. But I would probably just say some of the plays that just stood out with guys breaking on the ball and being able to maybe have some make-up speed where maybe we had problems with that in the past.
Where do you and the coaches stand right now in terms of feeling secure about your two deep and who's where? And are there a lot of questions you still need answered?
Yeah, I think number one, we feel better than, again, all we had to do is compare it against last year. I was just walking around in flex today, looking at the back of the defensive line and the offensive line and saying, regardless, this is better. We got a lot more bodies out here, and so it's actually fun whenever we go into personnel meetings. We had one for a couple hours on Sunday. We'll meet again today, and then we'll meet again next Sunday talking personnel. We have a lot more bodies to talk about, and there's guys that are truly earning their way up into the two deep, and not just because they're the last man standing, where maybe that happened a little bit last year. But there's been some really good competition, and ultimately we need to get it down to a 72-man roster, whenever we get ready to head up to NC State. So I think right now we're probably floating around, 85, 86 guys that we think are in that group and could find themselves on the bus and playing to NC State.
Are we planning to see two quarterbacks versus NC State or one?
Yep. The ideal scenario would be for us to name a starter and give him the opportunity to be able to go out and play. And I think last year was not an ideal scenario with a lot of different guys playing. We have had a full spring, 15 practices. By the time we play on Thursday night at NC State, we'll have 25 practices. So I did my quick math there, Clemson math, that's 40 practices. Where maybe a year ago, we just had, I think we had maybe 20 in fall camp. That's it. So we're going to have twice the amount of work and time to evaluate these guys. And, at the appropriate time, we'll name a starter and move forward. And the ideal scenario would be for him to move us forward and have success. But there are some other guys in there that have different skill sets that may be able to help us from time to time as well.
You were a straight A student in math, right?
I was. Yes. That's right.
Anything else for Coach?
All right, we're good.
Uh,
All right.